Good afternoon and wake up, WC. Today is Friday, May 27th, and I have a very special broadcast for you with some important announcements, as well as some special videos created by our talented broadcast team. So let's jump right into it. But first, I'd like to wish you all a happy first day of summer vacation. Incidentally, it is also National Road Trip Day. So if you have travel plans over Memorial Weekend, I pray that you will have safe travels and that you can find some cheaper gas on the road. But if you're sticking around this weekend, there's a ton of stuff happening, and I'd like to share a little bit of that with you. There's a lot of great things happening, starting today with the Division III Regional Track and Field Meet at Chillicothe Southeastern. That's at 4 p.m. Tickets need to be purchased, though, at ohsaa.org/tickets. And that's going to be a great time. Hopefully it'll dry out. It's been a little bit soggy today, but should be a great time. Then tonight at 7 p.m., you're invited to come celebrate with the class of 2022 at Baccalaureate. Now, if you don't know what Baccalaureate is, it's kind of like a final chapel for seniors. It'll have worship and testimonies. It's a great time. That's going to be in the auditorium at Grace Polaris Church. And then finally on Sunday, all 86 seniors will be walking across the platform and graduating. That's at 3 p.m. Also, the band and orchestra will be playing as well. So you are all invited to come celebrate the class of 2022 this weekend. As a matter of fact, while you were all most likely still sleeping this morning, they were all here in the auditorium rehearsing for Sunday's graduation ceremony. Well, speaking of sleeping, you know that you can't just sleep away the summer. As a matter of fact, many of you have summer jobs already. We're going to hear now from Matthew Morganski, aka Kent Brockman, reporting on what some of you do for summer cash.
Good morning, Warriors. I'm Kent Brockman with your morning news. Today we're wondering, how do you impact your community? Roll the clip.
I'm a babysitter and I get to be a good role model for younger kids and lead them to Christ in fun activities.
I ref soccer games around Central Ohio. I am able to allow people of all ages to play a game, enjoy it, and have fun.
Okay, so mechanical engineer and like working on like drag racing stuff, and how it impacts my community is like, I guess a bunch of entertainment for them. Yeah.
I work at Chick-fil-A and I serve people with my new motto, my pleasure.
So I am a receptionist at a veterinary clinic and to help the community, I help clients understand what's going on with their dogs and help them stay at ease.
All right, so my job is remodeling. It impacts my community because I help my grandpa finish his basement faster.
So what I do is I cut lawns around my neighborhood, a bunch of different lawns. I cut like 6 or 7. And the reason I do it is because a lot of my neighbors are very old and it's hard for them to do it themselves. And instead of paying like a lot of money to hire a professional company, I just do it for them for like 20, 30 bucks, so yeah.
I do landscaping, and landscaping helps people get their dream lawn.
Alright, I work at Cane's, and I personally think that it impacts our community because there's not a whole lot of like fast food joints around my house. There's like McDonald's and everything, but Cane's is the only one other than that, and they're always really short-staffed, so I think I really help to, just give back to the community, give them something to eat,
I do landscaping for my dad's friend's mother, and it impacts the environment because I'm helping her because she's older and she can't really do anything, and I get paid, and it's pretty easy to do, to just do something nice for some people that can't. So
I'm a cashier and phone worker at Donato's. It's impacted my community because I get to talk to people that I wouldn't usually talk to, and I've started to notice some people outside of work that I'm glad I know.
All right, thank you, Kent. Now, as you heard, some of you are entrepreneurial and have created your own businesses. Jaden Ajay is also someone who has created his own business. And to get a little bit more information and inside scoop, he sits down with Mr. Johnson to get that deeper information on what is involved in running your own business.
So, Mr. Johnson, tell me about how you thought about like creating the Warrior Cafe and like how you got the idea to like run it, basically.
Okay, so I used to work at Marion Harding High School, and I saw a lot of students that would be late to school, and they were carrying Starbucks cups, and I like coffee anyway, so I saw that and I was just like, oh, that would just be a cool way to start a class, solve some problems. And when we came here, I wanted to start it at the old school, but just the space and how it works, it wouldn't have worked. So when we got to the new school, there was more space, and then with 7th to 8th grade being with high schoolers, that's when I just started to, well then COVID hit, so I just figured, heck, let's just try it anyway, and it works.
So tell me about how you changed like your perspective on money when you're younger. Like what did you do to like get money? Like when you're younger, like what type of jobs did you like try?
Well, I didn't get my first job until I graduated college, so, but I'm pretty much a big saver. So like anytime I got like money for either it was Christmas or birthdays or who knows what, if I sold something, I never liked to spend money on anything. It's sort of like that today, where even if I absolutely need to spend something, I have a hard time doing that. So it really just depends. But now, since I'm an adult, I have bills and responsibilities, which I don't like. So I still pay those, but I don't like doing it. So my wife originally used to be a big spender, but now she's sort of a saver now. So, but it hurts when I have to spend pretty much. So really hasn't changed much. Just now I have money compared to being in high school, not having a job. So getting a job like right out of college, and that was my first job, was a struggle. So hopefully I answered that.
That is all the questions I have for you.
Now, all this talk about coffee is definitely making me a little bit thirsty. So, thankfully, coffee has some amazing health benefits while helping you to focus and have a boost of energy when studying for those big exams. So next up is a sneak peek at MyJoy's Warrior Cafe commercial for next year. Check this out.
Caffeine is known to aid in relieving stress. And what better way to get the serotonin than at the Warrior Cafe? So before you come in for your tests, you can get your happy fix here.
All right, that looked really yummy. Speaking of next year, some of you are starting to think about college. It's really not as far away as you might think. There are many ways to help pay for college. One of the ways might include dedicating oneself to club sports. Sanaya Harden participates in competitive cheer and traveled all over the country. She's hoping that this will have a big payoff for her in college. Check out her video exploring this idea a little bit further.
What made me want to continue cheer is I've basically been doing it for my whole life. I think my first year I was 7 and I just can't imagine my life without it. I think my favorite part about cheer is probably the relationships that you make through the sport. I've made so many friends through cheer that will literally last me a lifetime, and it's fun. Piece of advice I would give to anybody wanting to do college cheer is to go in with an open mind. They're going to ask you to do skills that you've never done before, You're gonna learn many new things, and I think that's just part of the sport as well.
Thank you, Sanaya, for that informative interview, showing us a little glimpse inside the world of competitive cheer. And let me tell you, those flips were pretty amazing. Great job. But wouldn't you like to know that when you've dedicated yourself to a sport, that the competition will be a level playing field? As many of you know, there has been a lot of controversy with transgenders entering and competing in college sports. And most recently, Leah Thomas, a transgender female, won the 500-yard freestyle during the 2022 NCAA Division I Women's Swimming and Dive Championship. While this has been widely politicized, we need to look at it through a biblical lens. Thankfully, Worthington Christian has published statements on what the Bible teaches about human sexuality and transgenderism. And you can find those on our school website. Cyrus recently sat down with a couple of WC students to explore this topic a little bit more deeply.
My name is Isley Holt, and I'm in 8th grade.
My name is Jonathan Bauman.
And what grade are you in?
I'm a sophomore.
Sophomore. All right. Did you know that Worthington Christian has a statement on both transgenderism and human sexuality in marriage? Did you know that?
Yes, I've heard about it, but I haven't read it.
Okay, here's one of the statements. I'm just going to read it out. It is, gender is a divine order that is rooted in the nature and character of God. That order is fixed and unchanging in a way that reflects that character, and it references Genesis 1:26-27. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
It's facts.
It's facts? All right. So you play club sports, right? You play club volleyball. So how would you feel about like a guy who thought he was a girl changing in like your guys' locker room?
It would make me feel very uncomfortable, and I feel like my privacy would be violated because I don't want a biological male changing in a woman's dressing room because that just is a little weird.
No.
No. Correct answer.
Just no.
If someone is born a biological female or a biological male, and their gender, would they have the gender as like the opposite of one of those?
No, what they were born as is what they are.
Okay, so there is no. You don't think there is a difference between sex and gender?
No.
Absolutely not. Because God made you the way you are, and He made you perfectly and in His image the way you are. So, saying that you are a different gender trapped inside of your own body is going directly against the Bible and what God says, because what you're saying is that God made a mistake.
And He does not make mistakes.
And He does not make mistakes.
How would you feel if like a guy was, okay, like going back to the volleyball statement, let's say a guy, because I've seen guys play volleyball, they're insane. Let's say a guy is like, he's 6'5", he's built, he's like a truck. And if he said that he, like, let's say he was like playing on like the other team or something. How do you think that would hold up? Like, how do you think you guys would even stand a chance?
No, because like how God created men, He built them to work in the field so that they would be stronger, and that's how God built men. So if men were playing against women who were built like not as strong as men, I feel like they would have an unfair advantage. And yeah, we would totally get destroyed. So
thank you for your time.
And have a blessed day.
And now you might recall Gianna's interview with Mr. Holloway on ways to get into college. One way is to get a high score on the ACT. So don't forget that there are still a couple of spots left for the ACT boot camp next week from 9 to noon. But you need to hurry and email Mr. Kranak or Mr. Holloway to claim that spot. But that's not all. Stay tuned for part 2 of Gianna's interview with Mr. Holloway.
Okay, next question. What ways are there to improve my chance of getting into a good college? Well, getting into a good college. Well, so let's say that you're trying to get into a highly selective college, and you're trying to see what you can do between the time you enter the upper school in 7th grade until you graduate. I would say, especially in high school, your freshman year and beyond, for those highly selective schools, you don't want to start preparing your senior year, which obviously, working with some seniors even this year, I would say that's probably been the case where just a lot of preparation that wasn't done that could have been done might have made things a lot easier. And if you talk to any seniors, I'm sure that some of them will say that they can relate to that. So simple strategies, get to know your teachers, get to know your counselors. So I'm Mr. Holloway. I'm available to get to know, because obviously I do a lot of counselor recommendations to the colleges and universities. And you definitely want to get to know your teachers, because the teachers have a lot of students that do well in their classes and get A's, and you want to create that personal relationship, get to know your teachers, be involved, maybe you become a student assistant, maybe you just make the time to get to know your teacher, they get to know you, you come to class early, you stay after a few minutes if time allows, you know when their prep period is. Anyway, you want to build a relationship and get to know your teachers. Because if they know more about you, they can write you a very nice letter recommendation. And you're just, like I mentioned, just not another kid with who got an A in their class. Also, exploring your interests. Highly selective colleges and universities, they're interested, again, in students with mixed backgrounds. So it is good to be involved and have different level of interest, and then you actually have things that you can express in your essays that you write to the colleges. Preparation for the SAT and the ACT would be important. We live in a test optional society. It doesn't mean it's always going to stay that way, as with the pandemic. So like the ACT and the SAT, preparation is key to raise those scores. Just like a good benchmark would be a 27 on the ACT, 1280 on the SAT. So that would be with taking the PSAT, maybe you do the PSAT 8-9 or PSAT 10 for practice. Then obviously do the PSAT that we do, the MSQT in 11th grade. And you may also get scholarship dollars while you're getting practice to take the actual SAT. And with the ACT, you can do like the boot camp we have coming up here in June. And you can also do some other tutoring options. That's actually available from that same individual that books that we're using at the boot camp. But anyone who wants more details, please stop by and see me on that. Also, I would just say that many of the scholarships are actually tied to your scores that you get on the testing. So there's really not a lot of benefit to not want to do testing and have that, as well as obviously having a good GPA in school. With the GPA, you just don't want to be waiting till like late your junior year to like, oh, I need to improve my GPA. You want to be working on that your freshman year, your sophomore year, so that your junior year and senior year, you're not struggling just to try to get your GPA up there. What is a good GPA? To me, a 3.75 and better is more significant scholarships, but I would definitely recommend at least a 3.5 if you have the ability and the time to make the grades happen. Also, finally, I would just say stop worrying about the college admissions process, because if you start early and you prepare along the way, start having some college visits, and maybe just think about careers that you might be interested in. Maybe you're a person that might be interested in trade schools or the military. But again, we can help sort that out. Obviously, your parents and your family. Do job shadowing experiences, or internship academy. There are things here in a school to connect in, and that will help. Also, just keep in mind, however, that regardless whether, as far as your life outcome, even if you don't actually go to the school or even get into the schools that you really were hoping to get into, there's a lot of great schools and programs. And And as far as like your life outcome, how successful you are, how happy you are with your life, really it kind of comes down to just being a high achiever. That'll help you through your future. Remember to be your best self and just see what you're capable of.
All right, Warriors, that's about all I have for you. But don't forget to check your email this summer regarding the reading list and start reading sooner rather than later. And have a blessed summer.